today in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today we are having a very, very interesting topic, that is success mantra for business. Love your business, it will love you back. Your smile is your logo. Your personality is your business card. How you leave others feeling after having an experience with you becomes your business and brand. Business is the activity of making one's living or making money by producing or buying and selling products such as goods and services. Simply put, it is any activity or enterprise entered into for profit. Success in business does not have to involve complicated new techniques. Here are few mantras to help any business to grow and flourish. Although these mantras were used, I can say, pre-pandemic time, and now today, because we have a very, very expert panelists who are in this field, they will give their views, but I am giving those mantras which generally businessmen use and which were found to be very, very useful. The first is do it your own way. Learn from others, but follow your own path. Every journey is unique. Be agile and flexible, but maintain your determination to succeed. For sustainable high growth, find a coach or mentor and use them to help you drive the business forward. Don't stagnate, innovate. Keep your ear close to the ground. Use competitor and market data to keep your business competitive. Be creative and differentiate your offer from the competition. Seek innovative ways of doing business. Know your market and your customers. Know your market, its segmentation, and your position in it. Constantly ensure you know your customers' wants and needs. Use market research to understand your customers' buying habits. Promote the benefits of your offers, not just the features. Build a strong brand. Brand is everything. Strong brands stimulate desire. Build a compelling and valuable brand and work tirelessly to promote it and maintain its values. Focus on quality, service, and value, not the lowest price. Don't concentrate on price. The customer you really want are the ones who focus on quality, service, and long-term value. Make sure your brand value supports your proposition. Employ the best people. Pay them well and work them hard. Employ fewer people, make them multi-skilled and pay them well. They will be better motivated, more focused, and less likely to leave you. Encourage team working. Establish small project teams to achieve key business aims and reward success. Be lean and mean. Maximize income and minimize costs. Relentlessly seek out wasteful activities in all its forms. Embrace a culture of continuous improvement and involve everyone in its deployment. Be flexible and adaptable. Usually, the winners are those most able to react quickly to change and adapt in a market responsible way. Often, they will turn a crisis into a new opportunity. Build cash reserves. Cash is king. Invest carefully and build reserves.
Goel sir, do you want me to take over? Perhaps there is a difficulty in internet. Chaudhary sir, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Very well.
Okay. Oh, so he has made me the host now. Maybe probably that there is something going on, in terms of digital connection. So my apologies, but grateful that he has given me the chance to host. Uh, I really would like to remind the viewers that there are number of lists, and these lists are growing in terms of both secrets, tips, as well as essentials for business success. There is absolutely not a single factor that will be responsible for the success of the business. The multiple factors and many more factors will continue to happen. So I just wanted to bring back Mr. Goel. Now that he's back, he would like to continue his story, and then I will get back again to all of you. Once again, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, and thank you, Dr. Agrawal, because this is a crisis management and
No,
it
it's okay.
happens, although I should not comment, but what to do? We are in Mangalore and we always face such type of problem, at least, although I'm using 3 networks, but this is a condition. And that's why I always say how the online education is successful in India. Anyways, now coming to our topic, and again back the so why I create a culture of lifelong learning and education. Invest in the development of your staff. Encourage skills development and a lifelong learning culture. Skilled and motivated people make fewer mistakes, produce better quality, and are more productive. Promote enterprise and participation. Plan. If it takes a man 4 hours to chop down a tree, he should spend the first 3 hours sharpening the axe. Create practical plans with defined actions. Monitor and update. Use the Deming cycle. Plan, do, check, act. Communicate your plans. Lead from the front. Show your leadership. Be visible, active, and supportive. Express a clear vision. Show confidence and determination. Develop buy-in to your plans for the business. Finally, always remember the 2 C's. Without these, you don't have a business: customer and cash. Now, to discuss this very important, relevant topic, that is success mantra for business, we have a very elite, knowledgeable expert in this field, who are authority in this field, I must say. And I would like to invite first guest of my today's program, and he is Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal is the former professor of marketing, innovation, and management, IIM Lucknow, XLRI Jamshedpur, and California State University, USA. He is president of Indo-Gulf Management Association. He is US Fulbright Fellow Boston, EFMD Fellow Paris, and British Council Fellow London. In 2019, he was ranked among the 251 most fabulous global education leaders. Welcome, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, you are one of the leader in marketing and innovation and management. And today, for the successful businessman, or for a success of a business, all these 3 are required very badly. So we would like to know from you your success mantra for business. Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, please. Please unmute.
First of all, thank you very much, Goel Saab, for giving us this honor and opportunity to be with you alongside Dr. Chaturvedi, who has always been an inspiring person for many of us. In fact, most of us have learned from him how to do things in a very humble but honest and at the same time excellent manner. And that is the thing that we have learned from him. I'm also very happy to be at this particular moment with a young man who is building brands in India, who is helping big brands, that is Mr. Gyan Prakash ji. I'm very happy to share this stage with him. And then finally, of course, very happy to be with Jarier, because Jarier has been an excellent person in terms of providing strategic inputs to the organizations, to the startups, and he practices what he preaches. So, in terms of his own success, he has been doing that as well. So, it is difficult for me to perhaps follow on what you have given a wonderful list of success factors for business. Good thing is that this list is growing, as I was mentioning earlier. And good thing is that many things which we thought were success factors are no longer success factors. In fact, in one of the best books on management, In Search of Excellence, the authors have brought out this very fact itself, that the companies which were excellent at some point of time and just after a decade over, they either went down or they were not on the horizon at all. So, which means that they were successful with certain factors, and those factors became irrelevant, outdated, or less important in the next decade. So, that is why I believe that the list is growing is a very, very powerful statement to make. There is another good news, and that another good news is that success mantras are quite different from the reasons for failure. The reasons for failure are not opposite of what success mantras are. So many times we think that if you do this, you will succeed, but you will not do, then you will fail. That is not the case. Again, here I invoke the two-factor theory of Herzberg, in which he said what satisfies people is different than what dissatisfies people. So the same way in business also, we need to be very careful to understand what makes it successful and what makes it fail. Probably I will not talk about the second too much because this is not exactly the topic, but let me talk about the first one a little bit more by providing just 4 or 5 factors which I believe are contemporary and which I believe are important for the success of a business. The first thing for any particular business to succeed is to have a very robust business model. Robust business model means that you do not have to just cater to the market based on your passion, based on your emotions, based on your feelings. I mean, at one time, my very good friend, who is the creator of Big Bazaar in India, he and I were talking on the same, you know, level, and he said that Dr. Mohan, passion क्या करेगा? पैसे का काम पैसा करेगा, passion थोड़ी करेगा. So at some point of time, we have to be very clear between passion and paisa. I'm talking here paisa. Paisa happens to be the essence of business model. That where will you make money? When will you make money? How will you make money? Now, this making money is not in a very pejorative sense, but in the essential sense of business, that where will I be successful? You know, if you are on the borrowed capital, further investment, there will be a time when even the investors will say, what the hell is going on? When am I going to see the dime of the dollars that I have paid to you? So therefore, business model is number one. Please keep your emotions with you without any doubt. Remain emotional, remain passionate, but also become realistic that where I will make the money and whether I will continue to make the money with the same model or do I need to bring in an additional sub model into this particular model to make myself going. So that will be point number one, or whatever, submission number one. Submission number two is that the organization must be very, very clear about the vision and mission. The vision is what is telling you you will be, or you should be, or you want to be in times to come. And mission is which is connecting you to the society, which is giving you license to work, license to operate, license to use their resources. Because if the mission is not socially beneficial, socially connected, socially relevant, organizations will have difficulty to survive. A very, very good example is of cigarette smoking or any other those kind of products which had a problem. One of the finest companies in our country is ITC. And ITC is having a flat growth. In such a scenario where we are talking about India, in that particular India where every share is just going through the roof, people are just minting money every day, the share of ITC is languishing. And why it is languishing? Because it is not able to connect a business mission with the society. People are still connecting with that. Of course, they have gone into variety of diversified activities and which are making money. But I assure you that particular money is nothing but a very, very small drop into what they make otherwise. So everybody remains worried about them, whether it is hotels, whether it is oil, whether it is consumer products like that. So this is the second thing I would like to say. The third thing that I would like to say for the business success is inspiring work environment. The companies which really succeed are the companies which go on the shoulders of loyal employees, the employees who do not know much but are willing to learn much in order to make the organization go. It is a shame for any organization that a talented, experienced person remains disheartened in the organization and therefore not bringing the best to the organization, which has hired him or her in the hope that they will provide the next horizon, or they will provide the next power, or they will provide the next energy for them to succeed. So this is the third point I would like to make, that please take care of the employees. A very good example again I would like to give here is of Southwest Airline, which says that customers are not my number one priority. Customers are probably number two or number three. The first priority is my own employees, the people who are working for me. So that is why this becomes a very big success mantra, that how did you take care of your employees? They will save you. An excellent example, again from manufacturing side, is a company called 3M. 3M is one of the most innovative companies in the world, where patents are filed left and right and center every day by the employees. How are they able to do that? They are able to do that because the company macro manages them and not micromanages them. Macro management is their career, their ambitions. They become entrepreneurs rather than entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs within the, or which is called corporate venturing. Corporate venturing is done by that. If employees are not able to do that, I'm very much reminded, one of my client companies is Haldiram. And when I go to Haldiram and talk to them, many of the products and others are brought by them, not by the top management or by external consultants, but by the people working within Haldiram itself, who tell us A, B, C, D products will be helpful. And then we work on them. So this is the third thing I would like to say, inspiring and engaging employees. The fourth, very important today is speed to the market. Analysis is good. Analytical paralysis is bad. Analytical paralysis is when you are thinking too much, analyzing too much. And in the process, you are just becoming almost like an academic rather than a practitioner. A practitioner does also analysis, but he does with a action point of view. So to me, timing is very important. If you're not on time, yes, I don't want you to be the number one all the time. I understand that people who are number one in the market also faces problems, but at least be number two, at least be number three. But why you are when the market is at the fag end of its demand and then you are entering? So that is again to me a problem. A very good example of that is P&G. Procter and Gamble decided that they will like to go to the market from concept to the market within months rather than within years, and that too on a global scale. The things which used to take years, now they said, let's cut it down. Let's bring from years to months, and they were able to succeed. The final point, and this is where I will stop because I want to listen to wonderful people that you have on your show. The final point which I would like to say, very, very, important for me is incessant customer focus. Incessant customer focus. I'm not talking about marketing. I'm talking about customer. And when I say customer focus, I meant customer needs, wants, and everything that the customer would like to have. In other words, ambitions also. If you make your customer successful, I assure you, customer will make you successful. Because customer will always go to those people who make them successful. Some hospitality examples. Some of the companies which have stood the test of time. If you look into their business model, customer is really number one. Like for instance, I very distinctly remember, and that is the story which I would like to say here very quickly, that when I was young, about 1978-79, I had gone to a conference in Pune to present my first paper there as a lecturer. And after that, I went to a particular market of Pune where I was just watching things, what will happen. Since it was my first time, I also wanted to meet Acharya Rajneesh at that time. I had the appointment with him. So I was just thinking that how should I, meet him? But I was thinking and talking about, and there I was in front of a shop. And that particular shop fellow said, "Kya mangta hai?" I said, "Sorry, I don't want anything. Why are you?" He said, "No. Kya mangta hai?" I said, "No." I did not know at that time that kya mangta is a very easy word used by Mumbai or Bombay cars and all. I said, "No, I don't want anything." He said, "In that case, hawa aane de." Hawa aane de means just leave this particular shop and go somewhere else. This is the problem. I could be the customer of his tomorrow. Will I go? No. Well, on the other hand, there are many shops I know who will say, "Arey sir, why are you standing outside? Please come inside, have a glass of water, or tell me who are you and all." That's the point I want. So success mantras are many, but I think good thing is they can be compressed into some big points. The last thing I would like to say, which I mentioned earlier, that failure mantras are, or failure reasons are many. I'll only just say one. And that particular thing is becoming complacent. Becoming complacent in your past success and stop innovating. The moment you become these two, you are on the road to hell. And this is where you will end up. Because you have become complacent, and because you are living in the past, and because you have stopped making new changes. Thank you very much, Goel Sahab, for this opportunity. And I'm all ears now to listen to my colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, for giving your very expert views on this today's program. Professor Agrawal, please mute yourself. I think some disturbance is coming from your
Yes,
side.
sir.
So thank you. Now, what Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal mentioned, few things which I would like to highlight. He mentioned about the 5 mantras. And he says that all the mantras are changing time to time, depending on the situation. But the one mantra which he says is about the robust business model should be there. He mentioned very interestingly, the money is the essence of success, not the emotion for a business. And he has given the example of Big Bazaar as well as ITC Limited. He has mentioned about the taking care of employee. According to him, rather, he has given the example of one airlines. He says they say that they are taking more care for the employees. They are not that much bothered for the customer, and they are putting the customer in second or third place. So that is one of the mantra for the success if you are taking care of your employees. Then he has also mentioned about the 3M and the Haldiram, because according to him, they have given the free hands to their employees, and their employees are doing taking all the major decisions, not the top management. So they have that much faith, and they cultivate that entrepreneurship among them. And then he says about the timing of a business is very important. When it's a fag end, if somebody is entering, and which we have seen also in recently in the pandemic, that many people started going for the mask manufacturing, pp kit manufacturing, or even for the sanitizers, and they found that the demand has gone down. So it all depends what timing you have entered, and he has given the example of P&G. And then he says the customer focus, although at one point he says the employees are more important, and at one example he has given that the customers are on the second and third, but the last point which he says the customer is important, and customers should be given more and more importance. So I'm sure when he will come in the next round, definitely he will clarify what he means, that one side one mantra says this, and last but one more thing which he has said is the failure reason for the failures are many, but one reason is when you become complacent, when you are in past, when you think that you have done big things and you are not updating yourself, then your doom is very much can be seen. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agarwal, for giving such a very I must say enlightening views. I'm sure our viewers today are getting all the top experts views in a very condensed way, although you people are talking in the conference for hours and hours, but here in 10-15 minutes you are summarizing. Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and he is Dr. H. Chaturvedi. Dr. Chaturvedi is the Executive President of Education Promotion Society for India, EPSI. He is the Professor and Director of Birla Institute of Management Technology, BIM TEC at BIMTech, Greater Noida. He has more than 42 years of experience in teaching, research, and academic administration. He has been director at All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE, a statutory body under Ministry of HRD, Government of India. Being a renowned management educationist, he has been deeply involved with national bodies like AIMA, NHRDN, AIMS, and the Indian Management Conclave, IMC, organized by the MBAuniverse.com. Dr. Chaturvedi is a member of Board of Governors, Indian Institute of Tourism and Travel Management, IITTM, Gwalior, under the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. He is a special invitee, member of editorial board of the Indian Journal of Higher Education, IJHE, Mumbai. He is in Board of Governor, United Nations Global Compact Network, India, New Delhi. He is the member of Advisory Board, Asia Pacific Center for CSR, Sustainability, UNGCNI, New Delhi. He is the member of Advisory Board of ABES, Institute of Technology, Ghaziabad. He is member of Board of Governors of the Global Research Foundation for Corporate Governance, GRFCG. He is member of Board of Management, IIS University, Jaipur. He is in Board of Governor, Birla Global University, Bhubaneswar. He is member Board of Management, CT, Birla Global University, Bhubaneswar. He is in the member of BOG of DIT University, Dehradun. Dr. Chaturvedi is the trustee and the executive president of the Education Promotion Society for India. He is the academic council member, Manav Rachna University, Faridabad. He is also the founder president of the Alumni Association of Agra University, AAAU, BIMTech Foundation, and Rangnathan Society for Social Welfare and Library Development, RSSWLD, Uttar Pradesh. He is also main trustee of the Atal Incubation Center, BIMTech. Dr. Chaturvedi has authored and edited 5 books relating to various challenges before Indian business, economy, and higher education. And his latest book is titled Quality, Accreditation, and Ranking, a Silent Revolution in the Offering in Indian Higher Education. Welcome, Dr. H. Chaturvedi, on our show. Dr. Chaturvedi, you have heard what Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agarwal has mentioned. Now, you being such a authority and you have worked in different places, and you are very much associated with the top corporates and the government of India, as well as state government of Uttar Pradesh. And you have vast knowledge. Now, we would like to know your views about the success mantra for business. Dr. H. Chaturvedi, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel. And I am also grateful to my friend, Professor Agrawal, my fellow panelist, Mr. Gyan Prakash Srivastav, and Mr. Jareer. I'm really very delighted to join this panel because it is going to create a discussion between those who are practicing managers and practicing academicians. It's a good combination. I compliment Global TV and other organizers of this panel discussion. I would like to say that the secret of success in business, or should we say success mantra for business, lot of people have tried to know and find out the success recipe for business at global level. Particularly, it has been mentioned by Mr. Goel as well as Professor Mohan Agrawal. Very eminent research work has been done by Tom Peters and Robert Waterman in 80s. Their famous book, In Search of Excellence, which was based on their researches sponsored by McKinsey and Boston Consulting Group. The book so far has been sold 4.5 million copies. I think it must be one of the largest selling book in the whole world, particularly in management. And till 2006, this book was being quoted profusely by management thinkers because it has used the data to say anything about success mantra for business, about excellence in business. They have presented 8 characteristics of excellent companies. And I think Mr. Goel has done justice by mentioning all those 8 characteristics in the long list provided by him based on a survey of the literature. And I think some of the characteristics have been spoken by Professor Mohan Agrawal also. Then I think there have been some controversies about the genuineness of the data used by them. And this book lost its shine. And Jim Collins has come on the horizon to talk about the success mantra for business. And his 2 books are still very popular. First book is Built to Last, Successful Habits of Visionary Companies, published in 1994, and Good to Great, Why Some Companies Make the Leap, Others Don't, 2001. And he has provided a list of 7 characteristics of good to great companies. So these 7 I would like to mention. Level 5 leadership. Level 5 leadership, it is also called servant leadership. Second is first who, then what. It is about recruiting right kind of employees and posting them on right kind of positions. Confront the brutal facts. So this talks about the emphasis on performance orientation, efficiency. Has concept, it is based on 3 elements: passion, best at, in which business, and driving resources. These are the 3 elements of this characteristic of good to great companies. Then culture of discipline. And 6th, technology accelerator. And 7th, flywheel. And it talks about that the company should not decide everything at the top, but it should allow the small units, small departments to take their decisions themselves. So these were the 2 very famous, eminent researchers, authors who have talked about excellence and success in business. Then I come to another aspect of business, that is lack of success or lack of excellence in business, or the failure in business, particularly how do good companies fail. And here I would like to quote one of the very eminent thinker and professor in marketing, working for last 50 years in US universities, Professor Jagdish and Seth. Professor Mohan Agrawal may be knowing him very well. And he has written so many books, I think more than 2 dozen books, which are read and used all over the world. The one book I am referring, published in 2007, The Self-Destructive Habits of Good Companies and How to Break Them. Very interesting book. He has also used the data, and he has listed 7 self-destructive habits of good companies. You may be running a good company, but if you have any of these 7 bad habits, there is a lurking danger that your company may change into a bad company or a losing company or a failure company. These are denial. Number 1 is denial, means living in your own myth that you are great and following the orthodox way of working. Second is arrogance, which means that people at their zenith of success become arrogant. It happens in politics also. It happens in business also. It happens in academic world also. So pride before the fall. People are not smelling that there can be a downfall very soon. So this is second, arrogance. Third is complacency. My friend Professor Agrawal has spoken about it, and it is like success breeds failure. So whenever you get success, you are faced with facing the failure. Anytime, if you are not aware about the potential of failure in every business, every moment of the life of a company. Then fourth was competency dependence, that is curse of incumbency. In politics, we always listen or read about anti-incumbency factor. Anti-incumbency factor. Many times it works. Many times it does not work. So this is also in business, that if you are depending too much on your success in the incumbency, you may face the failures. Then competitive myopia, that you are prejudiced about your competitors and you are not feeling afraid of the competition. You are only talking about their weaknesses, or you are thinking that they are lagging behind and future also they will lag behind. Then territorial impulse, that is culture, conflicts and tough wars in a company inside, groupism. And seventh is volume obsession, that you want to increase the sales without going into the cost factor and falling margins. So these were the 7 self-destructive habits of good companies. And Professor Seth has provided a list of solutions, these 7 destructive habits. Now, I would like to take 5 minutes more about talking that in post-COVID world, sometimes we call it the new normal, what will be the 2 most crucial factors of success and failure of corporate world, corporate entities, companies, firms. The first of all, I would like to tell, that is not knowing well that the current normal may not continue forever. Till March 2020 or before March 2020, the world was living its own paradise, and people were feeling that they will continue to grow, and there was no danger of the massive destruction of the economy and society due to a global epidemic. Before the COVID-19, I think in the 20th century, in the last part of the 20th century, in Southeast Asia, there have been SARS and many other epidemics. But those were limited to particular regions. And world has forgotten the fact that 100 years back, there was Spanish influenza, which has affected the whole world. More than 50 million people died. And out of those 50 million, around 10 to 20 million people were from India. So massive destruction has taken place 100 years back, but the COVID-19 has surpassed all past epidemics. A famous author has talked about a black swan moment in the business or economy or society, I think we are facing the same thing today. There are many scientists working about second wave, third wave, and the changing of formation of the virus in different forms, but still nobody can say surely that what will happen in next 1 year or so. Whole world is fighting with vaccine and with accelerating the facilities in health sector. So I would like to say that the future, COVID has given one lesson at least, that the future will become more uncertain. Not only more epidemics, maybe more dangerous than COVID-19, may continue to come in next decades or so. Along with epidemics, let us not forget one major problem which businesses are likely to face is the problems related to global warming, climate issues. So massive floods, drought, natural calamities can come anytime in the whole world or part of the world, and it can disrupt the business. How well equipped are companies to face these probabilities in future? Based on the experience of COVID-19, I think companies in many sectors have been left with no option but to discontinue their businesses. One of the biggest hotel of Mumbai has been closed. Yeah, and 20% of the big hotels are not working, shut down. It is happening around the world, and it is not affecting only the airlines and the hospitality industry. It may be affecting many other industries. To conclude, I would like to say the first probability will be the black swan movements arising out of more dangerous epidemics and also the natural calamities. And second, last point I would like to say, the disruptive technologies will also force companies to think about continuous innovation in their businesses. If they do not continue, artificial intelligence, blockchain, deep learning, machine learning, robotics will disrupt all businesses. And I tell you that a lot of researches are being held. I would like to refer one famous thinker from US. His name is Vivek Wadhwa, who is known to me, and I have been following him, and he has been coming to India sometimes, but mostly he's talking in US business. His name is Vivek Wadhwa. I would like to refer two books. One book is Driver in the Driverless Car. This book is about how our technology choices will create the future. So it talks about disruptive technology, which is going to affect the future of business. And second book, which came in 2020, or I think early 2021, it is From Incremental to Exponential: How Large Companies Can See the Future and Rethink Innovation. It talks about innovation being accelerated by the exponential technology. Exponential means that currently we have been following incremental technology or incremental growth, 1 plus 1 plus 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's talking about 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. The rule of information technology, famous law, Moore's law, which has been invented in 1965, that every second year, the computing power of a chip will be doubled and the cost will be halved. Here I stop by concluding to say that next 1 decade is full of probability of disruption, but at the same time, innovative companies will have ample opportunity to compensate their losses from disruptive technology. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chaturvedi, for giving a detailed description about the market situation and how the companies were successful and the future of the companies, according to Dr. Chaturvedi is. But what he says that earlier, those who were giving the success mantras found to be giving false data, although their books were very, very successful. But ultimately, another author or the management guru, he gave some new ideas, and then the things have started moving. But he is very much fan, or I must say following, of Mr. Jagdish Sheth. He says that he has given some ideas about the hello, excuse me, Dr. Chaturvedi, I have given a wrong name.
Jagdish
Jagdish?
Seth.
Yeah, sorry?
Jagdish Seth, S-E-T-H.
Yeah, I said Jagdish Sheth only. I think Jagdish Sheth. He appeared on our program once with Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. So he says that he has given the reasons why the companies are failing. Because if the company is successful and if those companies fails, then there is some reason. And he has given 7 reasons, and out of which arrogance is there, complacency is there. But interesting word he used is incumbency, because we have heard about the incumbency in the politics. We said that this particular government is now facing incumbency, anti-incumbency factor. But he says even in the business, the incumbency is there, where you are not doing something new. If it is the same management and they are having the same products, same marketing strategy, then the incumbency will come until there is something unique in the business model. And he says about the future, because he is very much particular about the future. Because of the COVID, he says disrupting technologies are going to disrupt further. And he is seeing for next 10 years, the conditions are not up to the mark. Only those companies with innovative ideas who can overcome this disruptive things can come out, like artificial intelligence, others. So the companies have to change their mindset. They have to come with a new idea, innovative ideas. Then only they can survive, because nobody knows up till when this virus or some new virus will come and disrupt the business at all. Thank you very much, Dr. Chaturvedi, for giving very, very enlightening views. I'm sure our viewers are getting so much enlightenment today. It's a really very enlightening session. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist, and he is Mr. Jareer Oimran. Mr. Jareer is the director of Intilaq. He is the co-founder of FoodMeet UAE. He is an entrepreneur, innovator, management consultant, and business professional with over 15 years of successful leadership experience in both tech entrepreneurship and consulting. He is having significant experience in consulting, professional advising, sales management, and business development. His extensive know-how in the Middle East and North America, combined with big picture orientation, adaptability, intellectual curiosity, talent development, and commitment, distinguishes him as a collaborator and trusted source with global reach. His industry experience in startups, technology, pharmaceutical sales, strategy development, nutritional product promotion, insurance competitive strategy, reformulation allows leverage of breadth of knowledge. He is results and performance-driven leader, recognized for teaming proactive urgency, professionalism, and integrity. His specialties are in e-commerce, real estate, management consulting, strategy formulation and execution, operational consulting, pharmaceuticals, nutritional products, medical devices, international marketing, Middle East sales, project management, etc., etc. Welcome, Mr. Jareer, on our show. Mr. Jareer, you have heard our earlier panelist, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, as well as Dr. Harvansh Chaturvedi, and they have given a very descriptive views about the success mantra of the business, as well as they have given also some views about the failureness of the business. Now, you are in a very, very, I must say, in a comfort zone right now, because UAE pandemic, which is not there. Still, we are struggling in India. Plus, you have an advantage because you have been educated in a very, very big universities in USA, and you know the USA and UAE marketing very well, and the businesses. So you have that insight. What we in India, we just see how the USA's people are talking. Even Dr. Chaturvedi has quoted the authors. Right now, few of them from India, but they are in USA. So we would like to know from you your views on the success mantra for business. Mr. Jerry Oemran, please. Mr. Jerry, can you just come closer to the screen so that, yes,
That better?
please.
All right.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for allowing me the platform to speak, and thank you for all the panelists. It's tough to start in the middle, right? Because a lot of the success mantras have been covered, right? And both Dr. Mohan and Dr. Churduvedi have covered a lot of the mantras with the perspective of academics, the you know the men and the women in sciences that are going out and studying all the aspects of commerce, of labor, and then aggregating, compiling, and coming up with analytics and trying to understand what's actually going on in business. And so I've been fortunate enough to come at it from two perspectives. One on an advisory level, which is in between the actual business and academia, and one where I operationalized startups and grew them. So I'll give those perspectives, and I'll try to add the value from that sort of scope. My take on it is you've got to define your vision and mission. That's the first thing that you start. And it's very unclear in the beginning, and you try to zoom in through several iterations. And the first business plan that you come up with isn't always the business plan that you move forward with. Based on the inputs and the development of the inputs, you refine things along the way, or you could just throw it out completely. So I think that's always a good place to start. And when you think about that, you know that a fair majority of the initiatives, projects, programs that you start get thrown out because competition is too high, too much funding required, no market fit, leadership isn't there, the right team. So a variety of reasons kind of exclude it from eventually getting to the market. And then once it's actually there, especially in the startup world, 90% of them fail. And that's a really high failure rate, right? So how do you avoid that? And there are books that are written. There's a lot of things that come up on the journey in the startup world. And if you're not adept, if you don't have the determination, if you don't have that commitment, it fails, and it fails miserably, right? People put in their time, their money, their effort, other people's time and money and effort, and it just goes to waste. And it could be for a small factor, like a disagreement with a co-founder, not choosing the right talent. And the greatest factor could be that your pricing strategy on a product or service is awfully wrong. So what I have seen from the consultant perspective is companies do it a little bit better. And I know that Dr. Chakravarti touched on this a little bit, which is once you have the teams in the organization who are manned and skilled to know what works and what doesn't work, the chances of success are higher in comparison to the startup world. And that is a 75% failure rate. So you're talking about a 10 to 15% differential. So even with the right leadership, the right talent, the right project, the right whatever it is, and the right funding, there's still a high level of failure for a lot of these projects and these innovations that the corporate world, they themselves implement. Now, what I've seen in my experience that limits that risk of failure are a couple of things. One is luck, and this is a really big factor. And we've tried to define luck in different ways, but it's the right product, the right time, and the right place. And I'll let the academics try to define it. But I've been lucky a few times, but I've been unlucky a million other times, right? And so it's when you find that moment that you want to capitalize on that luck and really build something that's great, and really go from that small chance and make it expandable, scalable, and much bigger. The second thing that I've seen is the embrace of technology and the embrace of sort of digital technology. It's not going anywhere. I mean, it's a force to be reckoned with, and like the professors earlier mentioned, if the innovations that you're coming up with in your organization, in your teams, doesn't sort of foster that technology culture, then you're going to struggle, and you're going to struggle a lot more. So those are the two bigger factors that I've seen, and I've had plenty of discussions around them. Now, in terms of what sort of frameworks we use in order to elevate our chances of success, is earlier in the conversation talked about the vision and mission, defining the goals, having the goals at the corporate level, and cascading them down to the different functional areas ensures a higher level of success. So what that means is, if the goal of the organization is to make money, then you bet that the sales department needs to align with that goal. Now, the KPI at the corporate level could be a P&L KPI, but the KPI at the sales department level is revenue. And the KPI at a department for operations would be to look at the expenses of the sales department. And so when you aggregate a lot of these KPIs, you can start seeing the connection. So I've worked in plenty of organizations where they've defined that vision, they've defined that mission, we've cascaded down all the goals, and we've made sure that the KPIs are interlinked through an alignment exercise. And an alignment across the organization isn't just a point that we talk about, it's a point that can be done scientifically. And so the better that we are at doing that as an organization, and the more effort that's put in from a performance management, ensures a higher level of success for these organizations. Even to the point of cascading down these KPIs to personal performance scorecards for each and every individual within the organization ensures that success. And it's not only about putting the KPIs, it's putting the baselines, it's defining the targets 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year in advance, and so on and so forth. So once you've got that performance management framework in place, and there's a compliance to it, and there's reporting, and there's a governance structure, and there's an open communication and dialogue between the team members, then you're at least from a management perspective ensuring that you've put the toolbox in place to see this sort of dream, this vision, this aspiration come more to light. I think I've taken up my 10 minutes. Sorry if I've rambled on for too long.
No. It's a very, very enlightening and very interesting what you have mentioned. Thank you very much, Mr. Jared, for giving your views. And what he says that there are, because nowadays that time, and he says he's specialized in advisory level as well as for startups. And he says that right now, 90% of startups are failing. And he is giving all the reasons for the failureness, as well as But he has mentioned few things which are very interesting. One is about the startups are failing because of the pricing as well as their team ability. And if your team is good, he says, if your team has been done nicely, then definitely about the failureness reduced to 75%. That is about 15%. Your chances are less of failureness. So it shows that the team, the pricing, and many other factors are required as far as the success of the startup is concerned. But he mentioned one more thing, that is luck, and that is very important. If you have a good luck, definitely sometimes that in India at least they say that you touch the soil and it will become gold. So basically according to him also, the right product, right timing, right place. And one more point which he has mentioned is innovation to be the faster than the technology, because when technology is coming, you have to think fast what is going to happen and how you can utilize the technology for the benefit for the company. Thank you very much, Mr. Jarir, for giving your very, very good views. And I would like to inform our viewers that today's program is also been, it's a courtesy of Indo-Gulf Management Association. Because we are associated, and Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal is associated with us in this form, that he wants to bring those leaders, I must say the thought leaders, who can give their views so that the viewers would take the advantage. Otherwise, it's very, very difficult to get such type of eminent personalities and especially to talking without any charges. Otherwise, their charges are heavy if they are talking on a conference, paid conference. Thank you very much, Mr. Jarir, for giving your views. Now, I would like to invite my next guest, and he is Mr. Gyan Prakash Srivastav. Mr. Gyan Prakash Srivastav is the business head, North India, of Manyavar, Moe, and Tomeu. I am sure that our viewers are well aware about this brand. At least Manyavar, everybody knows. He was a former national sales manager, Lacoste. He was with Bata, Hushpis, Adidas, etc. in sales and consumer marketing. A dynamic professional with 11 plus years of experience in lifestyle, retail, and consumer industry. He is adept at business planning, integrated online, offline retail strategy, profit center management, sales leadership, operational excellence, and brand management. His proven skills are in franchise and key account management, CRM, and customer service excellence, business development, sales analytics, sustainable process, re-engineering, bottom line growth, and managing cross-functional teams towards achieving organizational goals. Welcome, Mr. Gyan Prakash Srivastav on our show. Mr. Gyan Prakash Srivastav, you have heard our earlier panelists, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, Dr. Havansh Chaturvedi, as well as Mr. Jarir. And they have given their views, very clear views about the success mantra, as well as why the industry, the business are failing. It's a successful story because the brand which you are marketing in a very, very big head, and the business head, you being the business head of North India, which has, I must say, that changed the cult of the weddings in India. I always give credit to my very good friend, I can say, or very great personality, Saroj Khan ji, who has changed the wedding scenario in India because of that one movie and the dances, Hum Aapke Hain Kaun. And that, again, the Manyavar has taken on a new height because the dresses which has come and which we have seen in many of the Karan Johar's movies and other movies, how the dance sequences, and now it has become a very, very common thing to wear kurta pajamas and jackets and the shawls. Even those oldies like us are forced by the young generation to wear those things. Otherwise, you are not invited in the Sangeet program and many other programs. So you have changed the culture. So this is also a success mantra. But definitely you would like to know the success mantra of our business. Mr. Gyan Prakash Srivastav, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Goel, for this esteemed platform, first of all, sharing with so many eminent personalities right now, Dr. Agrawal, Dr. Chaturvedi, Jerry, who has been so much experience. So already I've seen most of the things that have been covered. For me, if I'll start with the success mantra here and taking out with the root cause of the business, it's like it's two questions which comes ahead. Like, do you really know what platform you're serving or probably the market you're serving? So what I always say, do your research. It's like customer and market understanding is very important. Where you want to place your product or you want to serve a customer, these two things goes along. And it's always said, do something different because people want to be unique, want to be known for something what has not been in the market. But it's not always meaningful. It has to be meaningful. It has to be value with this. So a recent example, what I really saw in the last days, the COVID was bigger problem than what we thought about. A company called MyLab came up with COVID shells. People had a problem getting themselves tested. The slots were not available, personals were not coming, and there were different kind of things happening. This company came up with a product at the right time. So the right time is also very important at the same time. If you launch something later than what is required or probably too early, the usage and importance will go away, fade away. So there are certain element which comes with all these factor of success, and there are many, as rightly quoted by the panel members here. So I'm just adding to these three things like consistency. What I keep is very important. Communication is another thing which is very important. So when I talk about consistency, is like even if you get failed, you have a learning like what you didn't do right. You have to correct it instantly, and the consistency like you have to go on with the process re-engineering that I was doing with the process model. At the same time, knowing your customer and communicating with them, associating with them. So it's what I always feel that it's not the product what a customer actually buys, it's the emotion what they buy. It is the connection what they buy, and which is the more important thing which make you relevant to the market. So if I'll talk about my own brand, we celebrate things and we give a reason to celebrate with our cross. And if we talk about the people of all the generation, we have a part with every person, every individual, and that's how we try to connect with them, talking to them via digital media or maybe via ad. So even if there wasn't a media, if I talk about 10 years back line, brands were communicating to the people via different medium. So the first thing what comes in place is the newspaper, and the other channel of medium is like news editorials. Then there was other thing which was more eminent to us is the sales personnel. So we talk about a lot of brand ambassadors. As per my knowledge and my experience, what I always say, my brand ambassador is the person who is selling my product because he's the one who is endorsing it. He's telling you more about accurately to use it, or you can say, what is my right positioning. He's the person who actually suggests you. He just not influence you. A person who is standing in a store is also a person who is telling you that what all you can do with my product. It's just not one use. It can be multiple things. And when you talk about any business, your association becomes very important because a repeat customer is always a very important source of revenue. He's also a person who endorsed your brand to the multiple people. If you talk about right now, you just praise my brand. It's really a great gesture of yours. And that's the way we always want to be connected. That's how we keep in the business. We keep up in the show. So for me, the success mantra is all about connect with the people. And it's just not one connect. It's the consistent connect, which I always like to do. If the connect goes down, definitely I will not be there. So I have to keep on innovating as well. And it's not innovating actually. It's not just innovation. It's an initiative as well. So any business which comes up is always comes up with the problem. So when we see a problem, there's a solution to it. And whosoever take forward the solution, the initiative to solve it, that's the person who's been remembered for, and that's how we buy a product. So what I also see is like we don't buy some kind of product, it's always a solution. We want to wear something in occasion, and I want to wear something special, so I'll go to a store and I'll buy it. I have a sore in my foot or probably in a body, I'll just go and buy that product and I'll get the solution. That's how you being relevant to the people around. And at the same time, if I'll talk about the presence is very important. I'm talking about my brand, and if it's not present around you, my source of revenue will also go down. So location becomes that very important. I have to be visible enough to the people where they can reach, where they can approach me, buy me, be it online or an offline. The pricing is one of the factor there, and these all element brings a good brand or a connection or what I can say a relation. And if I talk actually about the Indian consumer, we have gone so far ahead with digital technologies and everything, but still there's a human touch which comes in the stores, which actually comes when you talk to a customer care. You get a solution online. You have WeChat, you have WhatsApp. So like a person who developed WhatsApp, he saw a problem that people want to communicate freely. He started WhatsApp, and they started engaging people. But at the same time, even if the message is going on, you cannot see me, you cannot talk to me, you will not feel that connect. Next time in India, if you'll talk about, you go to a showroom and talk about the same person, that, okay, I was served by this random person, I would like to get served with this only. And that's how this business goes on. And that's the only mantra. And what I also feel, just listen to the people. Your business keep on growing if you actually listen to it and processing it. Take rightful decision by listening to your customer, because your customer is the person who gives you the right mantra every time. This is what I'm looking at. This is what I exactly want to do something. Even you talk about any store, sometimes people come back and say, I couldn't able to find your store. He's telling you about your location is not right. Sometimes people become too complacent. And what the failure mentioned by there, but it's not only about complacency, it's about taking the right decision. Your profitability comes with that. So you have to take a rightful decision when you have to choose a location as well. The rental is very much directly attached to it. So it's all the element, but these all element is in front of you. It's the listening. It's all how you process it. That's how it goes along. And the list goes on. Definitely, there are many things to be covered, but these are just what I really got. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gyan Prakash Srivastava, for giving your very, very practical views, because you are dealing directly with the market. And I will just highlight one or two things. He says that continuous research is required, the marketing research, what is required by the customer, what is the need of the customer. And he said one should be different. You should not be the whatsoever is the tradition. You have to come out with something. Even if you are using the tradition, you should be having something unique. And he has given an example how one should come out he's giving the example of my lab there about the COVID testing, which is very, very difficult earlier. We all faced, but then they have come out so one can get the testing done at their own house without any problems. He says about the consistency, timing, communication. And one very important point which I would like to highlight is the emotion. The customer is not buying the product, but he's buying the emotion. So basically what he says is the customer feel that if he's buying something, it's very emotional, and for which I can give the credit to Manyavar that they are using the appropriate brand ambassador like Virat Kohli and others, so that they are talking about such type of product and the people connect that immediately. Okay, if he is using and this type occasion, merry happy goes. So all these things are required. Human touch. He says that one should have the human touch whenever you are giving something. And location, all many factors are there. One has to see when you are doing this business, and one has to be successful. Thank you very much, Mr. Gyan Prakash Srivastava, for giving your views. Now, I would like to ask first some question, although I am not standing anywhere in front of these legends. But anyway, I will try my best to ask something so that they can enlighten more. My first question goes to Dr. Harvansh Chaturvedi. Dr. Chaturvedi, you have seen the era when the corporates were managed very closely, where there is a private organization like a private company, private business. You have seen that era. And you have also seen the era when now it's a totally professionally managed. What difference and which is better? In pandemic, we have seen even those who are professionally managed, they fail. Like you have given the example of the hotel in Mumbai, a 5-star hotel, Hyatt. And we have even seen those who are very closely held, they succeed. But people have different views. We would like to know, as your expert views, the professionally managed or the privately managed, what you say about it.
You have put up a very tough question for me, but I would like to submit that the Hyatt Mumbai hotel has been closed due to inability of the promoters or the chairman of the board to invest some amount of money to pay the salaries of the staff. Some other big hotels are being run in spite of the losses. So it is the policy of a family business run hotel or a professionally run hotel, if they have the long-term vision means when you are you are not earning profit, you are incurring losses. Who should take the responsibility for your staff and employees? I think no organization can grow in future if during crisis time they simply lay off their employees, and when the good times come again, they call them. So I would like to say that be it professionally run or be it family business run enterprise, they should be far-sighted and they should have a vision as has been enunciated by Professor Agrawal. So I would like to say that any company, and here I would like to just narrate the example of company Kodak, which is talked a lot in management literature, that Kodak once used to dominate the whole world. It started in 19th century. In 2011, it incurred losses of 1.5 billion per annum. They were having 200,000 employees. They filed for insolvency, and the company was closed in 2012. What was the reason? In 1975, one of the engineers of the company developed a digital camera by using or understanding the future need, and by using the disruptive technology, and presented before the board. The proposal was presented before the board that this camera can remove the requirement of the film and it will be the future. But the board thought that it will kill their film business, Kodak film business, and why should they do it and kill their business? So they decided not to manufacture the digital camera. Ultimately, they faced the crisis, deepest crisis in 100 years old company, and company is not existing. They are doing some other business. So I think any company has to understand not only the disruptive technology, they are also supposed to understand a big shift is happening from shareholder capitalism to stakeholder capitalism, that every company need to understand the need of the society, not during only COVID, but every time you have to understand. Unilever can be one example. For 100 years, they are selling Lifebuoy, and Lifebuoy is a soap for poor people, hygiene sanitation, developing hygiene sanitation for poor people. Similarly, every product should be sustainable. Any product which is creating crisis for climate or for the ecology or for environment, people will boycott.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Chaturvedi, for giving your views. Now, my question goes to Mr. Jarir. Mr. Jarir, you have spoken about the startups. My question to you is that it's a fact that 90% startups are failing. Still, there are fundings are coming. But don't you think one of the reason is the promoters are become greedy, dishonest, siphon of the money, and they have no exit plan for those who are investing the money? Do you think this is also one of the reason in the failureness of the startups?
Can you say that again? Because
I
understand it.
Yeah, my question to you is that the promoters are siphoning out the money because they have not seen, they are quite a new in the business. They have come out with an idea, they developed the idea, and they have come out with a startup, and the funding have been done by the investors, and then that money which they see, and they could not digest the money, and they siphoned out the money, or they spend the money in those dividendful expend, or they have wasteful expenditure they have done. And that's why the main reason is this, that they failed. Otherwise, the same ideas the other promoters are doing, and they are very successful. Do you think this is one of the reasons?
Yeah, so this, I mean, it's a pretty loaded question. So I'm gonna break it down, right? So investors invest in companies which they think have a good product, a good team, and there's a likelihood of revenue and profitability somewhere down the line, right? If the product's good, there's a fit, it's being consumed by the market. Usually there are boards and governance structures set up within organizations that would limit wasteful spending or any form that, especially as the money keeps on increasing, they'll probably limit the chances that there'll be any sort of corrupt or fraudulent activity or what have you, right? But there are examples. I mean, WeWork was a prime example where it was a real estate play. It was invested. SoftBank gave millions, if not billions, of dollars to this organization, and the comparable company, Regis, came out and said, how in the world is this company being valued at where it's being valued, right? And then it slowly began unraveling, and then there turned out that there was governance issues, there was management issues, there was culture issues, and eventually, the prime investor came and took over the company and came to some form of agreement with the previous founder, and they exited. Yeah. So I mean, there are examples where things went well. There were active investors. They put in policies, procedures in place to protect their investments, and then there were other examples where it didn't. But then you look at other sort of the ride sharing apps, like the Ubers and the Didis and the Lyfts, for example, where there wasn't real profitability for a while, and they were just spending, right? And at some point in time, the investors came down and said, we need to see money coming into our pockets, right? And that depends on the arrangement between the management team and the investors. So pretty complex that we're dealing with, but it does go back to that relationship between the investors and the management team. And based on my personal recommendation, what I've seen is the more that the investors are active in the success of the business, the higher the likelihood of success, provided that the relationship stays professional. Shouldn't be friendly, shouldn't be hostile, but it should be an open, transparent dialogue between these two groups where the agendas somewhat match. Agendas won't always match, right? Because investors want money. Management wants success. Two different KPIs. The success over here could just be defined as happy customers. We're making a little bit of money. They might not be looking at how much they're burning through, but the investors have a different agenda. So once you align these agendas, higher likelihood of success.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Jari, for explaining this. Now my question goes to Mr. Gyan Prakash Srivastav. Mr. Srivastav, you are in a brand, and this COVID time was very, very difficult. Now, what is your success mantra? Because we have read yesterday only, I think the news is that the Gap, which is one of the very leading brand, has to close all outlets in UK. And many other outlets have been, all the fashion, these types of are closing down. So what is the success of Manyavar or your brands in this time, in this pandemic time? So because success, fine, pre-pandemic, you have explained. But during the pandemic, what is the one success mantra which you can explain in 1 minute time?
Sure, sir. So, Mr. Goel, the first success mantra here, what I say is the connection, what I was talking about earlier. When you connect with the customer, your customer come back to you. And even in the recent time, if you see, things have definitely got shifted, but it wasn't cancelled anywhere. So if you talk about the wedding got shifted. It never cancelled. The moment wedding will happen or any celebration like Diwali, so the people we come out to buy, they get connected. And what I was also talking about earlier is like Bhartiyata, what we came in the picture, so like connecting people with the emotions, which is the most important thing. And even the pandemic, when it comes, it wasn't a time we were looking at something going down. It was something what we looked at an opportunity to correct the thing what was not right. So we are opening multiple stores right now. People have said that they have gone offline from the offline, probably, as I'll say, from the retail. They are coming totally online. But I think that's what I was saying. Human touch is not going to go anywhere, because when you want to come out in India, people take shopping as a pleasure. They come out as an outing. They celebrate. So that's the time what they look out. And when they come to the store, so we try to create the environment. We try to bring that culture up. For that, we also ensure that our employees are treated in the same way. What earlier said about the employees are very important tool, and
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Srivastava. My last question goes to Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. Are you there, Professor Agrawal?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay.
Only thing was, that I was having a difficulty with the construction site.
No. Just 30-second answer. Do you think in all the success of businesses, government of the day plays a very, very important role? We have seen how Alibaba story. So do you think this government plays anywhere in the world, plays an important role for the success mantra or success of a business, for the business?
Totally, without doubt, without government. Let me put it this way, that government support may not be necessary for success, but government disfavor is critical to your success. You may fail because the government is not supporting you. That's the thing I would say. So negatively, I'll put it rather like what they are doing for many companies here in India.
I think you have just stopped saying about the Twitter. Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. So viewer, you have seen today the experts, those who are authority in the field, they have given their views, success mantras, but they are very, very clear that you have to not read whatsoever is written in the literature. It's a practical thing, and practically human touch is required. You have to change yourself. You have to change. You have to be innovative. Technology is changing. The time is changing. One of our panelists says that time is very difficult, 10 years more. So how to do it, update you, that you have to see. Take care of yourself, your employees. That is very, very important. And then take care of the customer also. So there are many things. And the last, which is very clear, is that the government of the day is very important, plays a very, very important role. They can break any company, which we have seen in China. And I will not like to comment now because Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal has already commented. So thank you very much for viewing today's program. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat News Post, as well as for shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to bring to you in the evening an achiever who has achieved in the short span of the life. And we would like to give the inspiring story from their mouth only. So today is my chief guest in the program called Kal Aaj Aur Kal Lal Goel Ke Sang at 4:30 p.m. My chief guest is Mr. Rajesh Bhatt. He's the associate producer of Bajrangi Bhaijaan. He has the same movie which has created a very, very which has a very successful story, has become a story in the Bollywood, how the movie, and it has not only been commercially successful, but it was also successful bringing two countries, enemy countries, closer at that time. And he is also the proprietor of Messrs. Rajesh Bhatt Production from Mumbai. He will be joining, and he is narrating his own life successful story, how he has achieved so much. So please tune in at 4:30 p.m. for Kal Aaj Aur Kal Lal Goel Ke Sang. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. Thank you very much, Dr. Harvansh Chaturvedi. Thank you very much, Mr. Jarir. And thank you very much, Mr. Gyan Prakash Srivastava, for joining and giving such a enlightening views. And thank you all the viewers for watching us.